I found as well, like, I have PTSD from my childhood trauma and the trauma from the abusive relationships. But I found as well, even though I already had like anxiety while I was smoking, just a trigger warning for anybody who might be, excuse me, like in early stages of coming off cannabis, but because sometimes just saying the word can trigger you. But when I was smoking cannabis, I was anxious anyway. And it's settled a little bit now, but I actually found once I came off cannabis, which unbeknown to me is like a symptom when you first come off it, I was more bloody anxious. It was ridiculous. But when you first come off cannabis, you can be a little bit paranoid and stuff like that. So just a pre-warning to anybody who might be trying to come off it. It is quite normal, but it does settle eventually. Thank you, Amy, for the gift. Dr. Julia on TikTok, she's amazing for understanding anxiety. Yes, yeah. I don't know if anybody's read her book, the Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before, but it's absolutely incredible. Really, really good. It's a self-help book, and it does cover more than just anxiety, but it's really good. Like, really, really good. I've read it quite a few times now. I think I'm so anxious, which doesn't help my pain, but certain family members keep putting me down. Yeah, some people, I'm not making excuses for them because there isn't an excuse, especially if it's something that you've suffered with for quite a while. Some people, unfortunately, just don't seem to understand it, and they seem to think that it's like an easy thing to get over and stuff, when the reality is it isn't. Maybe place a boundary with them, like, because that's not going to be helping your mental state either. So maybe try place a boundary with them so that they're not able to kind of, especially if you're planning on making those steps to go forward, if you start placing boundaries and stuff with them, then it should help. I mean, I'll be honest, I placed boundaries with mine and it didn't really go all that well. And in the end, the boundary was, leave me the F alone, kind of thing, like no contact, because I soon realised that was the best thing to do, because I wasn't respecting of those boundaries. But not everybody's like that. That's just my experience, and most people will respect those boundaries. The joys of tax, tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's not too bad though. Thankfully, I haven't got that big of a tax bill to pay. To be honest, the tax bill's not that much. It's more the national insurance. But unfortunately, we have to do these things, don't we? I'm just thankful it's online. I couldn't imagine having to fill all that out with a bloody form. Thank you for the gift, Harley. Shine bright. Oh, bless you. Thank you. Stupidly proud of you. Oh, Chloe, thank you. I really appreciate that. No worries, Sarah. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you for the gifts, Amy. Why did you have a breakdown, if you don't mind me asking? So, I mean, why? Obviously, it's not a choice to have a breakdown, but without going into too much detail, because again, there's certain things that, you know, I want to keep off social media and stuff when it comes to protecting kind of people that need to be protected. So, obviously, I lost my mum and my brother in the space of 9 months, and my brother was 19 and he took his own life. And I think that kind of set it off, along with things that was going on in my personal life that was very difficult. So the person whom was like my abuser came back into my life, etc., which, you know, brought back all of the things that I'd just suppressed and I hadn't actually healed from. I was having a few, because of how my brother had passed away, there was quite a few sort of, again, I'm trying to word it so it doesn't, so I'm not kind of talking too much or oversharing too much on social media, but there was a few family difficulties, should we say, due to the fact that he'd taken his own life. Sorry, trigger warning, talking about these things. And with him doing that, and with him sort of passing in that way, it was also a big thing. Well, it was a big thing for everybody, but it was also like a big thing for me. And it very much kind of took me back to my younger days, because I was removed from my parents. Well, my parents had split up, but it was deemed that my parents couldn't keep me safe and look after me, because I tried to take my own life several times, and I had to go and live with my grandma. And it kind of took me back to that, and I went through quite a big phase where I was very angry, because for me, I'd sort of, like, I'll be honest, both my parents abandoned me. My father got with somebody and that was his focus, and my mother got with somebody and that was her focus. And it took me back to that time when that kind of happened to me. And my brother stayed with my father, and we was out of contact for quite a while. Like, well, I say out of contact, we texted each other and things like that, but we hadn't seen each other for a long time. And I think I was more angry because to me it almost felt like everything had gone on with me, and, you know, whatever, it's in the past. But it was like they hadn't learnt from it, in the sense of then it had happened to my brother, and unfortunately he did succeed in his attempt. So that was another thing. Obviously, the trolling on social media. So I'm going to say in December of 2022 was when I first started to, like, slip again. And then that's when I do believe the person isn't actually on social media, or certainly this app, anymore. But when a specific person decided to kind of take it upon herself to, well, and I quote, do everything possible because she wouldn't be happy until I was dead. And the extent that kind of got to an extreme level, which then I was kind of already slipping into another breakdown, but then from the things that I've just mentioned, but then her and the people that she'd manipulated to kind of get to do all of these things, doing the extremes that they were doing, then sent me into, well, all I can say to you is I've never been that poorly mentally before. So with an accumulation of all of those things, that was, and I literally got to a point where I sat kind of every day and thought to myself, why am I here? Like, everyone's telling me they don't. It really makes me emotional talking about this, but like, everybody's telling me they don't need me in their life. Like, I wouldn't be missed. That I should just go and do this, that, and the other. And yeah, well, I did, again, trigger warning, I tried to take my life several times. I remember writing my children each a letter. and leave it. Bloody hell. It's hard to talk about it because it's like, it's kind of mad. Sort of how thingy, but yeah. I wrote a letter, kind of a generalised one as well, and yeah, that was that. And then after my several attempts and ended up in hospital and stuff, that was when I decided it, like, enough was enough, and I needed to come off the app and get myself sober and get myself better. Sorry, I'm tired as well, which doesn't help. It just makes me a bit, it's a difficult thing to talk about. I'll catch up tissues, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm alright. I get emotional every time I talk about it. I think it's because I remember what I wrote and stuff and these. Oh, bloody hell. Hey, at least I haven't put my makeup on yet. That's positive. Poor blimey. And breathe. Thank you. Thank you. I'm alright, guys. If Kate gives me a hug, honestly, I'll be absolutely blubbering. I will. Honestly. I'll be crying that much I won't be able to stop.
I mean, I'm really good.
No, I'm alright. I've got this. I know if you hug me, because I can feel it building up a little bit again. I know if you hug me, I'll be like, poof, and I won't be able to stop. It's just, yeah.
Don't cry anymore.
I know, yeah. Maybe that I just needed to, it was like, I needed to release it. Drinking all this water. Deary me. Right. I'm alright. Oh, sorry. Don't mean to. I'm going to have a couple of toots on my vape. Sorry, bear with me. Off topic, by the way, are you getting, oh God, I've got a bloody nose is running now. Are you getting changed to go to Cadbury?
If I've got time, yeah. Because I've currently got, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, lovely. That's a nice bogey. I do apologise. My apologies.
I was going to just chuck my jeans on, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Get one more.
One more wear out of him. Yeah. Yeah.
Bad sitting upstairs.
It's alright. Is Kate your support worker? She's not, no.
Me. We're kind of each other.
Yeah, we're each other's support network, but she's not my support worker now. I didn't actually get any professional support, which is mad, if I'm perfectly honest, but yeah, right. I'm good. Let me just go up and thank everybody because I think people... So yeah, that's kind of how that kind of came about. Thank you, Lauren, for the gifts. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, no, I know. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Have a cuppa. Do you know what my problem is with having a cuppa? Like, my routine is like having a cup of tea before bed. So if I have a cuppa, then my body's automatically going to think that it's like bedtime.
I didn't have one last night.
Do we not? No, we didn't.
Because you were like, I was all ready to watch another episode and you were like, I'll sleep. We switched.
Yeah, but then I got into bed and I was like, ding. Don't want to go to sleep now. Sorry if I made anyone cry, by the way. I do apologise. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all good. Yeah, I agree. So thank you, Lauren, for the gifts. How was Saltburn? Oh my gosh. Like, ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's a good storyline. Now I understand it more. I think it is a good storyline, but up until understanding it, I was like, I'm not really getting this. You know, when you sort of like, what am I watching? I mean, it is still weird, don't get me wrong, and what baffles me the most is someone's actually written that. Like, what's gone through their mind to come up with that type of story? But yeah, I would recommend watching it. If you've not watched it, then I would recommend it. But just be prepared of like how kind of what it is, because it is very much like a what the flipping heck have I just watched kind of situation. No professional sport, disgusting. Do you know what I think it was? I think because at the time, yeah, don't worry, thank you. I think because at the time there were so many, you know, like people sending like emergency services like falsely and stuff to my address and whatnot. I don't think that helped. I did, in the end, obviously the vast majority of you will have probably seen when the police kind of got involved and stuff, and I am going to throw it out there. Every single one of those was NFA'd. The police were more concerned about my mental health than anything else. That was what they, you know, was concerned about over everything. They weren't concerned about other things. That's why nothing ever came of it. They were concerned about my mental health. And I am going to say this now. Out of every place that I've ever been to, like, the police probably helped me with my mental health more than anybody ever has. They ended up getting excuse me, I can't remember what they were called now, but it was a team that would come to my house and they did a plan with me, etc., on kind of what would happen if like a plan of if I got to that place again where I wasn't feeling great, then kind of the plan of action to move forward and whatnot, which that helped in a sense. But then because the harassment just continued, like, it was ridiculous, the amount of different people and things that were coming up, like turning up to my house and everything else. And then I started having takeaways being delivered, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And all I could think in my head was, crikey, this is how bloody it happened with the Smithy family. And the next minute their chuffing house was burnt down. And yeah, that's when I was like, no, I'm not staying. Like, if I stay here, I can't ever get better, and I can't kind of, I won't be alive anymore. But yeah, so that's that. The NHS weren't the best, but the police definitely, like, they were the ones that pushed me to get the support as a mother, as a woman. Oh, bless you, Lizzie. Yeah. What about coffee? Got me Monster. It's all right. I'm all right. I do like coffee though. I like tea as well, but yeah. Sorry, that went down the wrong hole. It's a difficult one when it comes to professionals and mental health, because there's such a lack of funding in it, and it's kind of like, do you blame the people who don't have the funding, or do you blame the people that are not giving the people that can help the funding, sort of thing? But it is something that I wish would change in this country, because there is such a lack of support when it comes to mental health. It's ridiculous. Sorry for making people emotional. Thank you, Lauren, for the gifts. Thank you. NFA, no further action. That's what it means. Basically meaning, like, they wasn't doing anything with it. And that was everything. Every single thing that you saw, nothing ever happened with it. So when you hear people saying that I'm going to prison and stuff, I mean, unless something's happened that's completely out of my knowledge and I know nothing about, I'm really not, because nothing ever got took to court. I was never on bail. I was never, yes, obviously you all saw me get arrested, but nothing ever came of any of it. They told me there and then that nothing ever was coming of them, because the driving incident, I didn't have enough in my system for it to be taken to court. So nothing ever came of that. It was dropped, kept my licence, everything else. The animals, they knew that, like, it wasn't actually a thing. They could see that it was completely manipulated in how it was reported, and that there wasn't abuse. They were very looked after animals. There weren't, obviously, nothing ever, they weren't injured or anything else. I did then, because at the time then my mental health was that bad, I chose to rehome them, like, voluntarily. And with the other incident as well, again, like, nothing ever came of it. They told me, like, all times, they told me there and then that, well, other than the driving, they didn't say there and then about the driving. They just said that they would check the levels, and, well, they originally said, you don't even seem like you're under the influence. And then they said, we'll check your levels, and if we're going to do something about it, you'll get a letter from us, and if we don't do anything about it, then you won't hear from us. And I never heard anything. And I checked, because you can check, like, your if you've got anything with your driving, you can check it online, and I don't. All I have is the 3 points for doing 33 and a bloody 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, like, a few years ago. So yeah, nothing ever came of any of them. This app is dangerous in many ways. It is, yeah. Thank you, Bex. Thank you, Bex, sorry. Hello, Bex, is what I meant to say. Hello, Shannon, you all right? Thank you, Sophie, for the gift. Thank you, Shannon, for the gift as well. Hang on. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Chantel. Thank you, Hayley. Thank you, Sheza. Thank you again, Hayley. Thank you, Chantel, again. Let me just go back up and have a look. That was in this now. Absolutely. Where you're able to store all your stuff when you left your house. So, leaving my house. So when I first left my house, to be honest, when I first left my house, I didn't really have a plan in place. I kind of just packed a few bits and thought, bugger it, let's just see a bit of the country, and, we'll go to different places. And then there was an incident where people knew I wasn't at home, and they purposely rang emergency services. And obviously, because of the things that they'd said, they had to, like, break entry to get in to make sure that I was, like, either not there or that I was okay. And so then my landlady got in contact with me, and she was like, what's going on? So by this point, I was like, do you know what? I'm not going back. And she said to me, do you want to hand in your notice? And I said, yeah, I do, yeah. So obviously by then I'd given my notice, and she'd said, well, if you want to collect all your bits, like, you've got until such and such date to collect your bits. So we went round and I collected a few bits. And when I went round, a family member whom I know is down to the BS that got spread on Tattle Life, and stuff like that, including things about my children as well, which weren't true. But hey ho, we move. And again, they actually have no contact with my children, nor does any of that side of the family. But anyway, and he actually turned up after we'd left, or just after we'd left, and we got into the car and started to like shout and like hurl abuse at us, threatening us, intimidating us, and told us that we would, like, he was going to follow us wherever we'd go and stuff like that. So Kate actually recorded it all, because I was a bit sort of like, you know, when you're in that instance where you're like, you don't really know what's going on, but Kate had recorded it all unbeknown to me on her phone. And I just turned around, I ended up shutting the window because Kate was like, Shannon, you don't have to put up with this. You don't have to put up with this. So I shut my window and I just said to Kate, I said, if he's going to follow us, I said drive, but if he's going to follow us, there's a petrol station up the road. I said, and petrol station cameras are manned by like the police, because just in case anybody obviously pays, like puts their fuel in but doesn't pay. So she pulled in there, and again, you know, he'd followed us and like came up, like parked right next to us, but in a way that then the cameras couldn't see him. I was like, and he'd literally like parked in the smallest little bit that you could possibly park in. And again, like hurling abuse at me and stuff like that. And then I just kind of didn't really say anything, because I was like, yeah, we'll just leave him to it. Then we managed to get away, and Kate literally just drove. Like, she just drove. She just went, bless her. And at this point, like, I was having a panic attack and everything else, because you know when you're like, oh my God, what's even happening? So then the next time we went round, my landlady's was actually at the house to ensure everything, that it was sort of safe and everything. And obviously we only had Kate's car at the time. So I just packed up. So I previously got like memorable stuff and things like that. And then I just packed up what I could get in the car. And my landlady, it's like one of the landlady, because it's two sisters that owned the house. She said, look, we're more than happy for you to, you know, you've never been a bad tenant, all of these things, you'd always paid your rent, etc., etc. We're more than happy to keep the bits in the house for you until you're able to grab them and stuff, because they were like doing a few bits to the house, I assume, before they were going to rent it again. And I just decided, you know what, no, I'm not coming back. Like, everything that I'm leaving behind, I'm going to leave it behind. And I just turned around to her and I said, look, sell it all, what you get for it, give it to charity, you know, or give it to like the stuff to charity shops and stuff. I said, I'm not coming back. I'm not risking it. And that was that. So the vast majority of stuff I left behind, because it was just the better option than to go back and potentially get like followed and harassed. And obviously they're all the people that I didn't want to know where I was and like exactly where I was and everything. And yeah, that was the situation with that. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Chantel. Excuse me. Thank you, Hayley. Thank you, Sheza. Thank you, Hayley, again, for all the gifts. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chantel. Thank you, Ellie.
The Observer, providing you with the latest TikTok drama from across the UK. Love watching the drama unfold on TikTok? Check out my account for all the latest drama.